Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shameen, and for today's video, I will be reviewing some of the stuff that cutepress has recently sent me. And if you read from the title, you know that I've been trying this thing out for at least 3 days. Actually, I've been trying it out for 4 days if you count day 0, which is the day that cutepress sent these things to me. And if you do not know what I'm talking about, basically cutepress, which is a Thai beauty brand that also sells in Watsons in Singapore, recently sent my way one of their newer foundations, if I'm not wrong, their cushions, which is the cutepress 1-2 Beautiful Airy Matte Cushion Foundation with SPF 50+, PA quadruple plus. They actually sent me all of their shades, which actually isn't that diverse, it's just 3 shades. So I've been using the lightest shade, which is light beige number 1, and then there's also sand beige and medium beige number 2 and number 3. I didn't open this because I want to give them to my mom to use because she has way darker skin tone than me, so she'll be able to use this. Then cutepress also sent me their loose powder. This is their 1-2 Beautiful Ultra Fine Matte Loose Powder. It has one of the cutest, most beautiful packaging I've ever seen on a product. And yeah, this is like the powder inside. There's also a 1-2 Beautiful Perfect Finish Powder Brush, which is this brush over here. It came in this packaging, I kept it to just show you. It's a really nice dome-shaped, medium-sized, densely packed powder brush, and I've been using this to apply their powder all throughout these couple of days. So those are the things that they sent to me. If you are interested in only seeing a demo, I just want to let you know that I have a demo on my Instagram, which I will link down below so that you can access that easily. If you're not interested in like a full review, you can always just go ahead and see that demo linked down below. But if you're interested in hearing my full review on the cutepress 1-2 Beautiful collection, then stay tuned and I'll jump straight into the review. Okay, first of all, let me talk about like packaging overall. The packaging on their boxes itself looks like this, which is really cute actually. When I posted me getting this in the mail on stories, so many people replied and exclaimed that this packaging is super cute and beautiful, and I actually do agree. The packaging is like really well thought out and well designed, and I really appreciate that. And in terms of like the quality of the packaging, I feel like it's really well made. It's not like the most luxurious thing in the world, but it's also not cheap feeling. Like, it feels heavy and it feels like a well-made product. Even the brush itself feels really well sturdy and well made, and the bristles are really soft. Speaking of quality, let's talk about price. So these are available in Watsons in Singapore. On Watsons website, the cushion foundation is $38.90, the loose powder is $20.90, and last but not least, the brush is $14.90. So all in all, it's really quite affordable if you consider the fact that it's like drugstore price, like Singapore drugstore prices. Jumping straight into the foundation, on the cutepress website, the description says that it has a weightless, silky smooth texture with a beautiful soft matte finish. It provides medium-high coverage, concealing all skin imperfections and blurring pores. It also keeps skin looking fresh and matte for 8 hours with sebum absorbing powder, and protects your skin from UVA and UVB rays with SPF 50+, PA triple plus. Wait, was it? Oh, it's triple plus, I've been saying quadruple plus. And it's sweat-proof and water-resistant. The shades actually run a little darker. I use the lightest shade, which is light beige, and I feel like sometimes this one veers a little too dark for me, but on the daily it looks more like it can pass as my actual skin tone, which is good news to me, but it's definitely not good news to anyone who wants to use this but has skin tones paler than I do or want like that brightening effect from a foundation. But if you are darker and you've been wanting to try like a cushion foundation but they've always been too light, especially if you've been always eyeing Korean cushion foundations, then maybe this one is a really good one to try. I need to tell you the one bad thing that I find really very annoying about this. it's really very hard to open. Like, I feel like I have to wedge my nails inside to kind of dislodge it. But anyways, this is how it looks like on the inside. Comes with the puff as usual. Opens up from the bottom right hand side. For 3-4 days I've been testing out this foundation. For the first 2 days I wore solely this foundation and tested how it would wear. If you've watched my demo on Instagram, or if you're going to watch that was filmed on day 0. So if you watch that, you will know that the foundation lasted quite well throughout the day with like the foundation and the powder together. So for the subsequent 2 days I wanted to test it out without the powder, because if you don't know, I actually enjoy wearing my makeup without powder. So for the first day I only wore this without any primer, without any powder on top. I added a little bit of concealer only because I didn't want to add like 2 layers on. I just wanted to test like 1 straight layer. This foundation truly has very high, quite impressive coverage without sacrificing the look of skin. So I guess medium high coverage does make sense. You guys know that I have a lot of acne situation, and recently it's getting worse again because it's like the time of the month. So using this foundation, I found that I don't even need to use a concealer if I don't want to. Like, I could just use this to build over and over again to build up the coverage over the area of my acne or under my eyes, to cover up my dark circles and stuff, and it really just blanks out the skin. Blanks out the skin sounds really very bad, but it really just erases. It really erases every single blemish on your skin. The best thing about this in terms of like the full coverageness is that it doesn't look like a full coverage foundation. Like, after you put this on, no matter how much you put it on, it still doesn't look like your skin can't be seen through the foundation. Like, you can still see your skin through it. So it really is like a very high coverage foundation when built. For people who are troubled with like acne skin and other skin conditions and imperfections like me, this is really good news. I noticed that it really does blur the pores too, because when I put it on over skin that I've already prepped with skincare but not like primed skin, it actually looks really perfected actually. I wouldn't say that it's like smooth and flawless and airbrushed, but it really does help reduce the look of pores, at least for a couple of hours, because I noticed that by the 4 to 5 hour mark, the product starts sinking into the pores. Either that or they start kind of coagulating together and looking a little wonky. Speaking of like finish to the skin, this foundation doesn't really give like the matte finish that the Airy matte part of the name says. It is really lightweight for one, so it's really airy, like in the sense that throughout the entire day of wearing this foundation, I don't really feel any foundation on my face. Like, I find myself like accidentally scratching my forehead because I forget that I'm wearing like anything on my face, which to me it sounds like good news, because you really don't want something to like make you feel icky as the day progresses, right? Especially if you're wearing this out to like work and stuff, and you just don't want this to bother you while you do more important things. So in terms of like the finish of the foundation itself, it's more of like that satin skin-like glow. So it's a tad bit glowy, but not to the point of like the traditional Korean cushion foundations with that chok look. It's more of like that natural hydrated skin glow look. So on the second day, I tried to prime half of my face with the Benefit Porefessional Pore Filling Primer, because this is still like the best pore filling primer that I own. I tried it on one side and I applied foundation on both sides, and I noticed the side without the primer actually looked a lot better than the side with the primer. Like, the primer made the skin a little bit more matte and dry. It didn't peel or anything, but when I pressed the foundation on, I noticed that it didn't stick onto the skin as well as it did without the primer. But after I got it to blend in, it looked quite alright. So if I did actually prime both sides of my face, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell the difference much, but I could feel the difference. Speaking of, my skin type is like dry dehydrated, not oily, though it does produce oils by the end of the day, but that's usually because of the dryness of my skin. So because of that, I think priming with like a pore filling primer really wasn't it for me, for my particular skin type. Throughout the entire day, I just noticed that the primer did nothing differently at all. It didn't make the foundation perform worse, didn't make the foundation perform better. The only thing that it did was to make my foundation look a lot drier on this side than it did on the side without the primer for like the first couple of hours, until my skin kind of evened everything out with its own layer of sheen and shine. The amount of shine that my face had for these past couple of days are like extraordinary much. Basically, it was insanely humid and hot for the last 3 days that I was trying out this foundation though. And the description does say that it's like sweat proof and water resistant. It's actually pretty true actually, because like even though I didn't work out for the last 3 days that I tested this foundation, on day 0, which is the day that I received the foundation and I filmed for the Instagram video, I actually did quite an intensive session of yoga like around night time. So the foundation's been on my face for like at least 5 hours by then, I would say. I noticed that the foundation stayed quite intact that day, so like nothing moved. There was like a healthy layer of sheen over my face that was like the normal behavior of my face actually. So the foundation didn't like start coagulating in weird ways, but it did start looking a little bit more like it's floating on top of my skin, because I guess like things are starting to want to come out, and that's normal and natural for the skin to do. So it's not really the fault of the foundation. In fact, I think that the foundation actually lasted really well throughout everything. And also, even throughout sweat and yoga, I almost forgot that I was wearing foundation because it was still so lightweight. Even now, it feels so lightweight on my skin. The foundation lasts quite well throughout the whole day of like a 10 to 12 hours wear, with blotting and reblending. The thing is, if you want makeup to last, no matter what brand, I personally find that some form of touch-up and doctoring is necessary. So for foundations, blotting off excess oil halfway through the day really helped freshen up everything and make everything look a lot nicer. In fact, it made it look as if like I just put it on. Like if you didn't know that I blotted my face, you probably wouldn't have been able to tell that I've had this on for quite a number of hours already. I never actually tried touching up with more product actually. That's my bad, because I just kind of forgot about it. That's like my main experience with the foundation itself without putting on any powder. Onwards to the powder, which I usually put on with the brush that comes with it. So the ultra fine matte loose powder is actually very fine. It's super ultra finely milled. And the packaging inside comes with this netting thing that sieves the product out. It's actually a little bouncy, and the only other powder packaging that I've experienced with this delivery system is Chanel's loose powder. I was actually really very hesitant to try this because you know how I feel about powder. All the powders, even the ones that I really like my favorite peach one, sometimes feel a little dry on my skin, and I just really don't like that feeling of like the hydration in my skin is just getting sucked out of my skin. And this one didn't do that at all. I was quite shocked. I just kind of like dipped this brush in and kind of just like tapped it onto my skin, which by the way, this brush feels so soft. I actually washed it once already, and I think it got a little harder afterwards. It's probably the way I washed the brush, but before that, when you first get this brush out of the box, it was so soft. It's still soft now, don't get me wrong. I make sure to cover every inch of my skin, which usually isn't the method I like to use, but then I kind of just wanted to try, and I was just tapping it in, and then I just noticed that as I tapped it in, the skin just looked like the shine was taken away, but it didn't look extremely matted out or dry or cakey or anything. So I just kind of went on and continued setting over my face, especially on day 0, and then I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I don't feel nor look like I'm wearing powder on my face. And then my mind was blown. I'm wearing it right now. I don't feel like I know I'm wearing powder on my skin because I put it on, but I can't feel it on my skin, and it doesn't suck my skin dry of moisture. It feels like nothing on my skin, and it's really lightweight, and I really don't feel like I'm wearing anything on my face, even though I have like about 3 layers of foundation on this side and powder, and 2 layers of foundation everywhere else and powder. It still doesn't feel like anything. It just feels really nicely set. I haven't used it with another foundation yet, but at least with the foundation that it was made to use with, it has performed very well. It's not just the feeling usually. Like usually if I use a powder, I notice that it doesn't wear as well on my skin, and it starts looking like dry and crepey by like 2-3 hours in, and then like my skin gets enough and then it just starts producing oils, and then the oils will start breaking down the powder, and then the powder will start coagulating all over my face, and then it will look really bad all over my face. And it's not something that I can actually fix, because after I blot off the excess oils, I can't reblend it anymore. That was my problem with foundation. I mean like powders on top of foundations. For this one, it doesn't make my skin look any crepier than it already does, which is great. And as I wear it throughout the day and the oils starts coming through from like the heat and my skin being dry, it does get oily and it does kind of start lifting a little off my skin. And I noticed that the foundation tend to like to collect around my nose area, like the corners of my nose, which is I think a minor problem. Like it's something that you can just blend out. So to me, it's not really that big of an issue. It does that with or without the powder. When I noticed that happening, I just kind of blot it, and then it sort of just gave my skin a really nice, refreshed look, and it looked almost like brand new, but it was still kind of like gunked up in some areas. So I just kind of took my fingers and kind of just like pressed it out and blended everything out. I felt like it was really very easy to just blend everything out without struggling too much. It's very delightful to finally find a powder that actually feels like nothing on my skin and looks like nothing on my skin. This powder and foundation combo has made me rethink the whole like wearing foundation without powder situation. Like I feel like the foundation doesn't look as good as it does with the powder over top setting it down, which is what's on my face today. And you can see that it's like you can see that the powder doesn't really take away the shine. I'm in aircon right now and I just put this on before I started filming this video about like 45 minutes ago, so it's only been on for like an hour max, and you can see that this natural shine that still comes through on my forehead. It's really still very powdered. No oils at all actually. This is just how it looks like after powdering. So it's like the powder still allows my skin to retain that natural glow that it has, which is something that I really do prize in a product, because I really don't want to look too cakey or too powdered or too dry or feel too dry. And also recently I've only exclusively been wearing glasses, so this pair of glasses is actually really heavy, and you can see in all of my videos and all of my testing footage that the glasses leave quite a dent in my nose. And you know the annoying glass marks that happen when you wear makeup and then you wear glasses and then it kind of just starts moving and sliding over your nose? That happens too with this foundation, but I feel like it happens a lot lesser, especially with the powder. But even without the powder, it doesn't move as slippy slidily and all over the place, and it doesn't look as messy when I remove my specs to look at my foundation than if I use like another foundation. Longevity wise, I think without the blending and the blotting, you might be able to squeeze an extra 1 or 2 hours out from powdering your face. But generally speaking, like as long as you keep with checking and blotting and reblending whenever it's necessary, and you might even consider like just touching up with like another layer of foundation or powder, that might actually just tide you through the entire day. The 8-hour claim on the foundation, I think it really does ring true, I think. I mean, it really depends on the weather and where you are as well, because if it's a really sweaty day and you're out all day, it's not gonna last. But if you're in an aircon room like me, 1.5 hours later it's still gonna look like new, because it just doesn't move anywhere because it's not hot enough for it to melt. Stellar product for me. This powder brush actually reminds me a lot of the Fenty one, the setting brush from Fenty, the 170. It's also pink, and it also has like that same sort of like shape, although the Fenty one is a lot longer and looser compared to this one, which is more densely packed. The Fenty one is obviously a lot more expensive, so this one might be a really good alternative for this Fenty setting powder brush. Don't get me wrong, it's not the same at all, because this has a lot more give, which means that you can actually swirl around on your face. But this one is something that you use to kind of tap powder in instead, or like product on anything. You don't really want to like drag it across your skin, especially when there's foundation on, because it's just gonna remove everything, because it's hard enough to do that. But in terms of like bristle, softness and quality of the brush, it kind of reminded me of that, as well as the color, so I thought I would mention that as well. Okay, so oh yes! Okay, so I forgot to mention that for the foundation, the cushion foundation, it actually comes with like a refill inside their box, so you get like 2 times the amount of product in a sense. It's nice that they give you a refill in the box, so you don't have to like run through the foundation so fast, so soon, all the time. And with that, I think I covered everything that I wanted to say about these products. I actually wrote a lot of notes in preparation for this video, because I really had a lot of things on my mind that I really wanted to like relay to you, because I feel like I found something good, and I feel really very lucky to have been given this chance to try it out for myself and then to share it with you guys. I want you to know that I am definitely not paid to say this, and they don't even know that I'm making this particular video. I just was really very inspired by the fact that they sent me the whole collection, and I found that it wore so well on the first day. I really wanted to try it out for longer, so I just felt inspired to create like a 3-day long wear test video, and this is what I did. And after 4 days of testing this, I'm actually really very pleased with the results, and really very delighted to have found something really good at the drugstore for that price. If you haven't checked out the Instagram video on me demoing this product, once again the link will be down below, so make sure to go check that out so that you can look at my first impression and wear test of that foundation. Just letting you know, just in case you want to see more. I'm sorry that I can't actually give you a swatch of the 2 darker shades, but just know that there are 2 additional shades here. And yep, so if you find yourself on Instagram, please do give me a follow there as well. If you're lazy to scroll down into the description box to find it and you just want to type in my name, my handle is ShaminCCW. And if you like this video, do remember to give me a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to my channel down below. Also, tell me in the comment section if you enjoyed this. If you want me to do a review for anything else, just let me know. I might look into doing it. And with that, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!